Howdy ho, Maplers, and welcome to the hardest class in MapleStory. It's Cadena. Oh my lord. I knew Cadena was a combo heavy class coming into this, but I did not expect nearly as much of a skill floor as Cadena actually posed. As far as mobbing goes, she's not terrible. Bossing though, she's quite a reality check. For the gear, it's all the same stuff I use across my 250s. Since this is the final Thief class, we're back to using my OG Thief set, which is why the Cadena is so much stronger than most of the other 250s, but it's nothing too outrageous. Cadena, to be honest, I overfunded really hard. Like, Cadena is one of the characters that I had prepared all the way back from like the first 10 250s. She has been on this waiting list for the final 5 forever. So I had more time on her to prepare than most of the other classes. For the inner ability, I hate to say it because I absolutely hate this fucking line, but ideally, Cadena's prime line, you're gonna want 20% cooldown skip because every single one of your skills, aside from of course your hyper skills, or not your hypers, your fifth job skills, can be CD skipped. And if you skip something like, let's say, Bat for instance, that's a huge boost to your DPS. More so than a 20% boss line. If you don't like the cooldown skip line, which I really don't, you can opt for taking 20% boss and then grabbing 10% cooldown skip as a secondary line. Otherwise, you just do 20% cooldown skip ideally and 10% boss as your second line. I really don't like cooldown skip. For the V Matrix, as always, in its very first slot, decent holy symbol. Gives EXP, it gives drop rate. What more could you want? It's great at level 1, it's great at level 30 when it's maxed out. This thing is perfect. Pretty much every single class not named Bishop, this is going to be the first skill you put on your V Matrix. And now accompanying it in the second slot, another best in slot skill. Erda shower, baby. We're in the ignition patch. Times have changed, old man. Erda shower is a must now for mobbing. This skill is absolutely game changing. How classes train and what your rates can be. Bad mobbers are now on the level of good mobbers before Erda shower. Good mobbers are even gooder. This doesn't really change the upper end for like the crazy mobbers. Like, they're not gonna go from crazy to even bonkers. No, Laura and Kana are still Laura and Kana even without Erda shower, but it is a nice buff to them as well. This skill though enables some absolute degenerate level rotations for classes who otherwise wouldn't have them, such as Cadena. But it's a pretty gosh darn good skill. It starts off pretty strong. It gains a lot of percent damage every time you level it, so even at a low level, this thing is going to be doing good damage. It's 100% uptime. All you gotta do, kill 12 mobs, it attacks. It's great. Throw it on. It's a placeable summon. It replaces Lucid Soul. Lucid Soul is not necessary in the game anymore. Sorry, Lucid Soul. And then, another summon. For Cadena's V skills, the most important one you want to throw on ASAP, Maelstrom. This is your 0 cooldown, 100% quote-unquote uptime summon. I say quote-unquote because this thing only lasts for 8 seconds. So unless you have a rotation that lasts just about a 6 to 8 seconds range, this thing's gonna have some downtime on it because on Frenzied Spawn, it's really hard to just always keep this up without losing efficiency for killing mobs somewhere else in the map. As a skill though, this thing's pretty gosh darn good. It doesn't reach below the skill very far, but its hitbox from the ground up is good. It actually attacks really fast too, so when there's a lot of mobs clumped up on top of it, it's going to clear them really fast. There are specific rotations where this thing along with Erda Shower are going to clear like 75-80% of the map for you. So it's well worth the micromanaging to keep this thing up. It's very good. For bossing, it's just more consistent damage, because that's definitely what Cadena needs, right? More damage. Then for the other skills, you've got the Apocalypse Cannon. This thing is like the second most important for me for mobbing, because it does have some use for mobbing, whereas the other two are really just you can live with them or without them for mobbing. Apocalypse Cannon is pretty useful. It gathers energy for 10 seconds after you place it down, where it's not really attacking very far, but mobs that are directly on top of it effectively will get hit by some additional damage, and it's strong enough out of the gate that it will kill mobs while it's charging up, and then it has a big little cannonball that it shoots out, which can effectively clear entire platforms. Sadly, it's only a one-part attack. The cannonball doesn't expire it or explode at the end, it just sort of expires. So it's not insane for mobbing, but for a 25-second cooldown, having this as another option to place down in a section of the map that you're just going to be jumping away from to continue your rotation is really nice. Definitely not necessary right out the gate. I would say prioritize your boost nodes over putting this on if you're focusing on mobbing, but once you have some space opened up, this would be your second most important V skill when it comes to mobbing. And then the third skill, Void Strike. This thing is kinda hit or miss, let's say, for mobbing. It lasts for a long time, a really long time, 60 whole seconds. It's quite nice in that respect, but as you can see on the skill description, it travels along an arbitrary path. Arbitrary being the key word there. The chains that come out of this only trigger when you attack a mob. So if you're one-shotting mobs already, there's a good chance that this chain is just going to spawn at a direction where it literally doesn't hit anything new. Which it'll happen quite a bit unless you're in a really big map like PD5 levels of big, where there's just mobs all over the gosh darn screen. There's a pretty good chance this will just come in at an angle where you've already killed all the mobs along its direct path. So it's good that it lasts a long time, and it's very helpful for larger maps, but the smaller the map, the less this thing's actually going to be contributing. It does do good damage, so having it for like bursting elite bosses or something is really nice, but since there's no like mobbing lockout for elite boss spawns anymore, that's not super high value. I look at this thing more as like a bossing skill than a mobbing skill, but if you do have extra space, it can situationally boost your mobbing rates just a little bit. Also, for once you're like pushing into Grandis and above areas where you're gonna need those additional hits, this thing is fantastic. When you're not one-shotting mobs with literally every ability you've got, this thing will help you out quite a bit. And then the final skill for Cadena's specific V skills, Muscle Memory Finale. This is purely a passive skill, which is great. The V Matrix needs so many more of these. Passive skills are fantastic. This thing is almost entirely just a bossing skill. This thing just boosts your damage output when you're wailing away at bosses and when you're getting muscle memories. It's good. It's additional damage. Who can complain about additional damage? It does have a very like showy animation. Which can be pretty obnoxious at times, just completely obscuring the boss. But with the boss outlines that we have now in the settings, it's not terrible. It does good damage. It triggers quite frequently. So as just an additional damage passive, it's pretty great. For the boost nodes, Cadena has committed the most unforgivable sin. She needs 3 trios. She only has 8 boostable skills. So you're gonna be doubling up one of these skills. I hate it. I hate it so much. Make 2 of these skills just overlap. Like put Brick and put your mind together and something else. Just get this class down to 2 trios. It's so stupid that I need to have 3 trios with 1 wasted skill. But for the skills, you are going to be boosting literally everything. Not a single skill in Cadena's arsenal is wasted. Every last one of these are used and will be used for both mobbing and bossing. So, it really doesn't matter which order you get them in, just you want everything. Chain Arts Thrash, Brick, Shotgun, Chain Arts Crush, Scimitar, Spiked Bat, beat down, daggers, and then whatever skill you happen to get a second time, because there's only actually 8 attacks. It's so fucking cursed. Like, honestly, I would rather they just add another passive skill somewhere in her first through fourth job that can be boosted for this final slot, rather than having a wasted skill that's on here 4 times. But those are the boost nodes. You literally boost everything. There is not a single skill that you're not going to be using on Cadena, and you want all of them to do damage because all of them are your damage buttons. This class does not have an easy way out when it comes to bossing like blasters do. Cadena forces you to engage with her comboing system because that's the only system you have for damage dealing. So you need to have every weapon in your arsenal boosted up. And then, of course, character building 1. If you're going to be training for any extended period of time on spawn boosters, this is just the best EXP boosting node. All you have to do, jump through 100 mobs, get hit 100 times, it'll trigger bonus EXP. You get this on average like 6 to 7 times an hour for most classes rotations. Cadena is a little special because a lot of her comboing rotations for mobbing move around the map quite a bit. You'll probably trigger this more than your average duck, but not too many more times that it gets ridiculous or anything. Then, of course, True Arachnid Reflection. You get it for completing the Will storyline. Decent mobbing, decent bossing. Throw it on whenever you get a slot. It's not super important to throw this on right away anymore because we have Urda Shower now. But it's still a very nice skill to have as just another placeholder mobbing skill. Its damage is good right out the gate, so as a mobbing tool, it's really just going to be a benefit to you. And then, of course, your decent skills besides decent Holy Symbol, decent combat orders, and decent sharp eyes. For me, my gloves for thieves have decent sharp eyes, so it's kind of just sitting down here unused. Decent combat orders isn't super insane on Cadena. She does have good passives in fourth job to benefit from this, so you will get a boost in damage there, but it's not on the level of like Ho Young or Kane. So I would say just to hold this off until you either move into doing bosses or until you have open space around like 240, 250. Then you can throw it on. So for the mobbing though, dude, I expected the mobbing for Cadena to actually be a lot harder than it ended up being. The mobbing and the comboing while you're mobbing isn't really the problem. A lot of the times now, especially with Urda Shower, Cadena doesn't really need to combo all that much for mobbing. You pretty much just combo to keep up your muscle memory stacks, if anything, on Frenzied Spawn. For 200 to 205, you've got the tried and true. You got Below the Cave or Eastern Cave Path 2. Both are fantastic. Pick your favorite, settle down. For this map, you don't even actually need Urda Shower right away, because you can just set Maelstrom on this left side and it will clear the entire side. But if you do have Urda Shower, set her down in this middle platform, and then you will flash jump with Thrash to clear this top right platform. It does get a little awkward that you have Urda Shower in between you and Maelstrom, so getting over to set down Maelstrom can be quite tedious, but there is this handy little portal here that you can hop back to in a pinch. If you have better ping than me, you can just pursuit up, or you can just flash jump up with your up jump, then just drop down, set down Maelstrom if the command obeys you, and then just portal back to your side, avoiding all of the mobs that Urda Shower is taking care of. And boy howdy, Cadena actually gets some really good EXP rates. If a bit inconvenient moving constantly to reset your Maelstrom, the EXP rates are very, very good. And that'll carry you on into Reverse City at 205 really quick. Like, I think I was in Vanishing Journey all of 12 minutes for this Hyperburning character. It was fast. And then for 205 until 220, if you want to, this map is actually cracked for Cadena. You can actually just stay here until you move to Lachlon. The hidden research train. This is mostly carried on the back of the Urda Shower, so if you didn't have it before, you're gonna need it now. Urda Shower on this middle platform, and then all you really have to do is jump through this middle and use Thrash. But if you need the final damage from your muscle memory, you can start weaving in your skills here. Crush will automatically stack you up to 8, so if you're just starting out your mobbing, just crush immediately. It'll put muscle memory at max stats, which will give you the most final damage passive. And then just, you know, use skills as you see fit, or just use Thrash, and if you need to upkeep muscle memory, throw in one of your skills, get muscle memory back up there charged up, and then just go back to thrashing. It really isn't as complex as it looks. Cadena has a lot of skills in her arsenal that she can use for mobbing, but a lot of the time, you really don't need to use all of them for mobbing. You just select a few that work for the map you're in, and you'll get good EXP rates. And like I said, that'll carry you all the way to 220 if you want to. But there is the alternative. At 210, you can switch it up a little bit. Go for another lazy rotation, how about? Slurpy Forest Depths. Once again, this map is going to require that you have Erda Shower, so if you don't have it yet, make sure you throw it on. Erda Shower is going to go on this bottom left corner, and then you are going to set Maelstrom down here on the right. Portal up, and then you just stand here and thrash left and right. After 3 waves of spawn, set down Maelstrom facing the middle, then you just drop down, and then you jump attack left and right. After 3 waves of spawn, once again, set down Maelstrom, portal back up, drop down, attack left and right. You can also use Pursuit up if you have better ping than me, but I just found portaling to be more consistent for the rotation. And that's literally the rotation. Erda Shower is going to clear the left side of this map all by itself every single time it spawns. Maelstrom is going to be clearing either the top or the bottom, whichever side you are not on. And then you're just going to be jumping down and up through the map. It's pretty darn effortless. The only thing that requires you really to move is to replace Maelstrom, but the map is very well laid out that you don't really even have to move too much. You can just go portal to portal and then just down jump between the portals. It's really nice. And that'll carry you on into Lachlan if you didn't want to stay in the hidden research train. And then for Lachlan, you have 2 options. Both of them unfortunately popular. You have Rev 3 and the Occupied Dance Floor 2. Rev 3 is where I did my training because I just like Rev 3. This map is tried and true. It's very simple. Cadena does have a nice little trick up her sleeve. You need to set your Erda Shower on this railing here so that it can hit both the top and the bottom. Cadena has this nice little trick. If you jump in the corner and then shotgun, you will always land on the railing. Nice little trick there. You'll always get it. And then for this rotation, you're going to start using some of your skills aside from Thrash while mobbing. You're going to be using either your brick to hit the top left, or you're going to be using your bombs while mid-air to clear that top right platform. If you cycle them properly, they will never be on cooldown at the same time, which means you will always be able to clear that top platform. Just make sure you drop your bricks while you're under this middle platform so that the bombs land on the platform so that they actually explode high enough to hit the mobs up there. And this rotation is really easy. Since you're using your brick and your bombs, you can very, very easily maintain your muscle memory stacks in this map, which means you really don't need that much funding to one-shot here. Muscle memory jacks up your damage something crazy. So you will actually be able to train here before a lot of the other thieves. Just so long as you're maintaining your muscle memory stacks, which isn't that difficult. But if Rev 3 is filled up, you do have the other option of the Occupied Dance Floor 2. This map has gotten quite a bit better since its revamp. You will grab this rune, which of course is a spinning rune, because why wouldn't it be? You're going to set your Erda Shower on this leftmost platform. It will be able to hit both the bottom and the top. Your Maelstrom is going up here facing left, and then you literally just stand down here and thrash left and right. Maelstrom and Erda Shower are clearing 85% of this map for you. The only thing you gotta do is make sure Maelstrom is up as much as possible. This map is about as effortless as it gets. This is definitely the rotation for those who are strong enough that they don't need to maintain your muscle memory stacks, because you're really not going to get very many triggers of your muscle memory skills unless you're going out of your way to trigger them here. All you really need to do is thrash left and right to kill the mobs that are down here with you, and then just maintain your Maelstrom. Every time Erda Shower comes off cooldown, maintain Erda Shower, and you're pretty good to go. If you have Void on your V matrix at this point, you'll be using Void strikes while you're doing your looting rotations, so that you don't need to constantly micromanage your Maelstrom in between loot rotations, because it takes longer to loot the map than Maelstrom lasts. But you can stay there all the way until 2:30. That map is really good. Unfortunately, with it being really good, it's also really popular. So you might have better chances of finding Rev 3 maps. And then you're on into Arcana at 2:30. For 2:30 until 2:43, you have two options once again. You have a comboing option for those who need to maintain your muscle memory stacks while mobbing if you need that extra final damage boost so you can actually one-shot the mobs, especially important if you come here before level 230. And you have another lazy rotation. We'll do the comboing rotation first because this is more suited for lower funding classes. You are going to go to the deepest upper path. This is a map that really showcases how good Cadena can be with her comboing rotations. Your rotation is, I'll show it first, then explain it, because it is quite complex. There's a lot of moving parts to this rotation, but it's actually fairly simple. Facing towards the right, you use decoy bombs. That will throw you back far enough to always land on this platform. Set down Maelstrom, drop down, Scimitar, and then daggers will put you on the corner for this on this platform. If it's up, turn around, Apocalypse Cannon. If you need to replace Erda Shower, you up jump and then brick. You'll always land on this platform. If not, you just flash jump by. So the rotation is pretty slick. All of your cooldowns are short enough that they will always be available to you when you need them, especially your mobility skills with Scimitar and Dagger. They are so short that you can actually use them multiple times in the rotation, and they will still be up for the next rotation when you need them. The only difficult part of this rotation is getting Maelstrom down. If you're using the keyed version of the skill, it's not bad, but since there is a combination key where you just attack, then press down, and attack again to set it down, there's really no reason to put Maelstrom on a key other than purely convenience, because Cadena's already got a lot of keys on their board. You might be running out of space by this point. But this is really the only tricky part of the rotation, is setting down Maelstrom consistently. And since this is a full rotation with combos, Maelstrom is actually easy to replace, because by the time it's about to expire, you're getting back to replace it. You're getting full value out of the Maelstrom, and you don't have to go out of your way to do it. This rotation is really, really good. I'm actually surprised with myself how quickly I was able to make a rotation for Cadena with how complex some of her combos can be for mobbing. But it's actually fairly effortless once you know what all of the skills do. Once you know the fixed like placements and movements that these skills give you between Scimitar, daggers, your claw, your bombs, your shotgun, your brick. You can actually make some really creative rotations without needing to move too much at all. Just the forced movement of your skills alone is enough to get you around a lot of the times. But that can be fairly high effort. And this is MapleStory, dude. We're all lazy gamers, right? Low effort training, let's go. This rotation for deepest CLP was actually recommended to me by a viewer in my stream called Laced. And yeah, it's pretty lazy. It's also very good. It gets about the same kill rate as my rotation there in deepest upper path. Erda Shower goes here on the left. You will be standing in the middle, and then you set Maelstrom to the right. All you have to do is stand here in the middle and then jump attack left and right. Between your summons, between you are effectively full clearing this on cooldown. Just set down Maelstrom every 3 spawn waves like you were doing in Slurpy Forest Steps, and it works out to be very, very effortless. This map is also really easy to loot because it's a long flat platform on top, a descending staircase to the right, and then flat platforms on the bottom. It really doesn't get lazier than this. You can stay here all the way till 250 if you want to, same with the deepest upper rotation. These maps give really good EXP rates. They're slightly skewed because I have the Eternal Flame title here on this character, but I was pulling about 140 bill EXP per hour with both of these maps. They're very, very good. But they're not the best Cadena can do. Remember Paladin? For 243 until 250. Yeah, we're abusing Urda Shower some more. It's Plunging Depths 5 again. This is another lazy rotation. You can maintain your muscle memory stacks here fairly easily, but you really don't need to. As with Paladin, Urda Shower goes up on that top right, and then really, you are just maintaining kills down here on the bottom. This is a map where Void Strike actually comes into play, so if it's off cooldown, turn it on. Those chains will come down at odd angles, potentially helping you, potentially doing nothing, but hey. Might as well take some potential gains instead of no gains. When it's off cooldown, up jump and crush on the left side of the map, or if you have a Lucid Soul, you can set down Lucid up there if she actually does enough damage to contribute. Otherwise, just jump up every time crush is available. If you want, you can also set down Apocalypse Cannon on either the left or the right facing in towards the map, and it'll fire and help you mob there as well. If it's off cooldown, Will Skill on the top left. And then just you are playing around Urda Shower. This map is purely reliant on Urda Shower for non-summon based classes. You need to be getting in its 12 kills as much as possible so that it's clearing as quickly as possible, because it is covering a lot of mobs on this map. There's also a really weird thing with this map where if you use Claw on this platform here in the middle, you don't actually land properly. You just skid along the platform like it's covered in oil or grease or something. I don't know why, but it actually works out in Cadena's favor since you can use it to get to the left side of the map to get back into your mobbing rotation a lot quicker while you're looting. It's quite convenient actually. But really, that's all you gotta do. Maintain your kills for your Urda Shower, and it will carry you through this map with ridiculously good EXP rates for as much effort as you're putting in. And yeah, that's pretty much Cadena's training till 250. It really wasn't as intense as I was expecting it to be. I was expecting something more like a Kine or an Arc as far as comboing being required for mobbing, and really outside of specific rotations like Deepest Upper on Frenzied Spawn, you really don't have to go out of your way to combo other than to maintain your muscle memory stacks, and they've made muscle memory stacks so convenient to maintain with it being up for 30 seconds after you use a combo skill. It's really not that bad. Cadena is pretty beginner friendly when it comes to mobbing because of muscle memory. You will jack up your damage quite a bit, like with no Arcane Force bonus for any of these higher level areas that I was training at. Cadena never once struggled in any of the areas, albeit partially because this character is more overfunded than most of my classes. But Cadena was pretty easily hitting 1 bill lines in a lot of these maps, which even for a thief class is pretty ridiculous. Muscle memory is a very, very nice passive to have when you're mobbing, especially on low funding. And then there's the bossing, dude. Oh my gosh, where do I even begin? This'll be the first character since Phantom that I won't be doing a dojo video for, because legitimately it's a skill issue. I am too boomer to actually perform Cadena's combos consistently and in a convincing enough fashion to be confident to showcase Cadena's bossing even in a dojo scenario. Dude, this class is actually a fucking skill check when it comes to bossing. Like, legitimately, this is the hardest class to boss with in the game, especially boss with properly. Like, you can completely phone it in. You don't need to thrash cancel every single ability. You don't need to pursuit cancel every single animation. You can just combo your skills together and then just like do a okay amount of damage. But it's so much better to actually cancel everything that it makes a world of difference. This isn't like a no reload cancel versus shotgun punch cancel where it's only an 11% final damage difference situation. This is a big damage difference. It's also just like an aesthetic difference. The difference between like phoning it in on Cadena and just comboing the skills together without canceling their animations and properly canceling Cadena's animations and playing her like she was intended to be played, it looks and feels so different, dude. But I do not have the hands for this. I am absolutely too old for this zoomer of a class because, good lord, some of these combos have legitimate frames that you have to land the combos on. Like, I'm still not convinced that Scimitar into Daggers is a consistent combo. Like, Thrash, Scimitar, Thrash, Daggers, you shouldn't move anywhere. No matter how many times I practiced it, there was like maybe 1 out of 60 that I didn't move on. It's actually so difficult with some of these combos. Now that's one of the worst combos. There are easier combos, like using shotgun into brick into claw. That's very consistent, that's very easy. But Cadena has so many skills and so many ways to combo them together that even wrapping my monkey brain around how to optimally do damage on this class, you can see the smoke coming out of my headphones, dude. Like I ran through dojo 5 times yesterday trying to practice this. And to be fair, I did get to a fairly respectable floor for my thieves, right around 48, 49, which is the average for the thieves. But I know Cadena is so much stronger than that it's embarrassing I only got to 48, 49. Like, with this gear, a good Cadena could easily break through floor 50. No doubt in my mind, dude. This class has the damage. I do not have the hands to get the damage out of this class, though. It's also a double-edged sword because it's still ping dependent. Pursuit is still fully client-sided. It feels like absolute ass for me with my ridiculously bad ping. So animation canceling with Pursuit isn't reliable or even an option most of the time. Also, it feels like some of the Thrash combos are even ping reliant. Like I was saying before with Scimitar into Daggers, I don't know if it's ping reliant or what, but this thing is super, super inconsistent. Even if I press the keys as quickly as possible, it's really hard. Also, one of the more simple combos, literally just shotgun into claw, is also fairly inconsistent. Like, with low delay on your keyboard, you should just be able to do shotgun and then hold down claw, and it should go off 100% of the time. But it just doesn't for me. So, I don't know. It could just be a skill issue, but it definitely feels like there's a ping issue stacked on top of a skill issue. But yeah, this is hands down the hardest class in the game. Blaster doesn't even hold a candle to this. Like, as far as skill ceiling goes, they're probably pretty close. Cadena's definitely higher, but Blaster's close. But as far as skill floor, when it comes to bossing, Cadena's a couple stories ahead of Blaster. This class does not have an easy way out. If you're just spamming Thrash and using your skills willy-nilly, you are really handicapping this class's maximum potential. This is a very, very strong class, but it is very hard. This is definitely not for the weak of will. Oh man. It's really cool though. I'll definitely put some links in the description to see what actual Cadena beans can do, because honestly, it's pretty disgusting how strong this class is when played properly. Cadena is ridiculous. She also has some of the most insane movement in the game, with like micro movements and adjustments using your skills forced movements to get around. You also have shit where you can flash jump Pursuit onto something and then flash jump resets fully, so you can get 4 flash jumps and then use shotgun to get some more flash jumps. There's legitimate Cadenas who can make this class fly with all of the resets that you can get off. It is so insane, the skill ceiling that this class has for bossing. It's so much fun to watch, but I do not have the hands to do it. Oh boy, what do I have to say about Cadena here at the end though? It's not really that different from like Arc or Kind when it comes to gameplay. It just has a lot more influence, or not influence, it has a lot more of a reliance on you comboing than those other two. It plays like a hybrid of the two, honestly, Arc and Kind together. So if you've played both of those classes and you like the gameplay, I would highly recommend giving Cadena a shot. It wouldn't be too far out of left field to go from those classes to Cadena. I also love that every single skill for this class is used. Not a single one is bad. You're going to use everything from scimitar to shurikens and everything in between. All of these skills are going to be used all of the time, most of them off cooldown. It's so cool that they actually managed to balance this class well enough where nothing feels wasted. Everything is used and is useful. It's really, really cool. This is like the only class where I feel like they've done it to this extent where everything is vitally important to you. Like, there's not a single skill you're gonna skip over because, oh, this other skill's coming up in like 2 seconds, I'll just wait for it. No, you're gonna use every single skill on cooldown to pump as much damage as possible. It's what makes Cadena so cool. She's like the most aggressive bosser in the game, which I guess that fits her personality now that I think about it. It actually fits perfectly thematically with her personality. Cadena is definitely one of those classes where you need to know what bosses do because you're going to be literally on top of them for the entire boss. If you're not in their face hammering down on these cooldown skills, you're playing Cadena wrong. Oh man. There's limitless potential to this class when it comes to bossing, but my brain has a very limited potential to handle these combos. Oh gosh. I mean, along with all these cooldowns, there's really just such a thin margin for error. You are literally playing on a razor's edge with bossing. There's one video that I'll link down in the description, which is a Korean Cadena playing. The video is perfect too because they show the hitboxes for all of the boss's animations and you can see just how much of a razor's edge this dude is playing on, how absolutely crazy Kadena's potential damage output is, and just like how much micro movements you can get out of this class to stay just a hair's width out of a one shot and still keep your damage up. Cadena is fucking cool, dude. That's my overall takeaway from this class. Cadena is fucking cool. Like Blaster is still a joy to watch, but there is something even more impressive to me seeing Cadena performed to its peak because holy shit, this class is hard. It's I have a newfound respect for Cadena players. After actually trying to do these combos consistently myself. This is no easy feat. It's definitely something you can get to muscle memory over time, but since you use cooldown skip as your inner, there really is no amount of muscle memory that's going to get you used to random chance. So you pretty much have to just be adapting on the fly while you're bossing, along with just keeping all of your combos in sync for maximum damage output. It's really cool. I actually like Cadena's mobbing more than I thought I would as well. Since it's a hybrid of Kind and Arc, it wasn't really as bad as I was expecting it to be, and it actually ended up having some comfy rotations. Even the combo heavy rotation for upper path felt really nice to do. Like, it was so fluid, every skill being up when you needed it, it just felt right. And since it maintained muscle memory stacks, it's even better because you get that damage boost, which makes it easier to mob, which is just winning across the board. I wish I was better at Cadena. But I know in my heart of hearts that I'm never going to put the time and effort into mastering this class because I'm just too old for this, dude. I'm a boomer now. I've been playing this game almost 20 years. I don't have the hands for this, nor the patience to play a class that uses cooldown skip as their primary line. It's a shame. I love this class, but it's just one I won't play again, likely. Unless it's to train it to 275, maybe. But that would just be training. Oh boy. But that's been Cadena. She exceeded my expectations and then some. Definitely a fun class. If you haven't tried Cadena before, I would highly recommend it. Surprisingly, she's beginner friendly as far as damage goes. As far as actually gameplay wise, maybe not the most beginner friendly. She throws you in the deep end pretty hardcore. But it's definitely an experience I would recommend everyone to try out. And that's been Cadena, our third to last 250. We've only got 2 left. Like, we're actually almost done. I've almost made it through every single class in this game. That's a fucking wild thought. We're on to the penultimate 250 next. Yeah, I can't wait. But if you have any questions about Cadena, or about my journey to getting all of these classes to 250, or heck, just about playing MapleStory in general, feel free to ask in the comments down below. I make it a point in these videos to answer any and all questions you guys might have, because I love this game. I wouldn't be here after nearly 20 years if I didn't, and I like talking about it too. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it informative. And as always, happy mapling. I'll see you in the next video.